Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day College Basketball 2017, and we are entering the 2021 and 2022 season. So we are well into this game. This is a reimagining of college basketball as a promotion relegation open system. There are 23 conferences, and we are back down to the lowest conference. We last season moved up from Conference V to Conference U, otherwise known as the 22nd of the 23 conferences, and we just finished inside the bottom four. And after looking through and making comparisons, I can tell you this now. The bottom four get relegated at the end of the season. The top three get promoted. Where does the other one come from? That is your conference tournament winner. Just might still end up becoming your top four in the league, and most seasons will be. But there's that difference. So 1 automatic bid for the conference champion and 3 to the top 3 positions. We were the 4th team at the bottom. We were just inside that bottom 4. And that was enough to put us back down to Conference V. After a great start to the season, a near 500 record even on the year, in conference, we absolutely fell apart. All right, so starting the next season, here we are. This will be season number 4, 5. Oh man, now I'm losing track. We'll double check that in a second. But for this season, and by the way, this should be season 5. Anyway, our incoming recruiting class has already been settled. Point guard Larry Zimmerman is coming in, and power forward Ray Price. Now, their ranks are pretty good, well inside that top 1,000, which just a couple seasons ago we couldn't do anything in the top 1,000, or just barely cracked the top 1,000, or at least those first couple years. Now we are consistently getting good recruits, and actually both of these guys have spent most of their recruiting season inside the top 300 or even top 200. This is the lowest rank that either one of them has sat at all throughout this recruiting process. And if you look at our conference, Conference V, and what everybody else has, 1,500, 1,600, no recruits at all, 1,700, 1,400. There's one in the top 1,000. Now, there are a couple schools that are better. North Dakota, 721. There's 1,600s again. There's two good recruits for Seattle U. South Carolina has one okay recruit coming in. That's it, though. So we are dominating recruiting at this lower level now. So we've gotten pretty good at recruiting over the last handful of seasons, and it is starting to show. It should be having us moving up, and it was starting to have us moving up, but we did fall into a slump last season at the wrong time. A lot of it started with a very difficult set of first 4 conference games last year, where it was 3 on the road and 1 against the best team besides ourselves out there, and taking losses in all 4 games just threw the season under the bus, and the team never did recover, and that's what kept us in the bottom 4. If we look at team history, there you go. Yeah, 4 seasons complete. We are going to enter season number 5. You can see we were actually only 13 and 14. That is not a bad year. In fact, compared to our 4 previous seasons, that was our second best overall record, slightly better than 2018. But cards did not fall right. It was conference where we fell apart and struggled. And you look at our past recruiting. That first recruiting season, we only had 1 player in the top 1,000. That second year, we got 1 decent recruit. Then that third year is where things started coming together. And even last season, we didn't have that great of a recruiting class. So we can definitely tell that we are improving, and our prestige it's not good. So we're going to look at info to see where we're at on that. Team Prestige is just 3 right now, and we are back down to Conference V, so Conference Prestige has dropped once again. Nothing else has changed. We have the same stadium, we have the same facilities that we had when we started this game, and that's about where we're at. Let's take a look at the roster. We are ready to begin the season, but let's see where things are at. So nobody is redshirting this year. Our incoming freshmen are stepping right in to important roles with the team. We have our 2 walk-ons and all scholarships filled right now. All right, now looking at the overall, from bottom to top, 0.5 stars, that's our walk-ons. Mike Walter still not showing the talent yet, but he's at least got 1 star now. Kevin Cole, Booker Grimes still ineligible for grades. He's now a senior, so if he does not get his grades up, I think it's next month at the end of the semester, then he will be ineligible to play his senior year and will walk away without ever playing, or no, I think he's picked up maybe 3 games career. Let me see here. Stats. Player stats. There you go. 2017, he had 2 games, 3 total minutes. And in 2019, he again had 3 total minutes in 3 different games. He redshirted the 2018 season to get him ready. And then last year and this year, which this year we haven't started our first game, but this year he's still ineligible due to grades. All right, Isaac Kidd is one of our recruits we just brought in. Clifton Jennings was the Conference U freshman player of the year last year. Reginald Neely is another new recruit coming in at 2 stars out of 4. Aki Collins in his second year is at 2 stars. Julian Marsh up to 3. And look at this, our top 5 players spread out, all 1 for each position, are all 3.5 stars or better. This is going to be a phenomenal year. We're going to have a really good record. We're definitely going to get into a tournament. We are definitely going to win the conference tournament. Well, I can't say definitely. We all saw how last year went. But we should. This is a phenomenal starting 5. And we've got good depth behind him, especially for Conference V. So Ian Dawson is going to be a senior this year. As a sophomore, he was the Conference V first team, made the Conference V first team. Last year in Conference U, he did miss out on first team honors. Of course, we had a bad year. But Ian Dawson, 3.5 stars. David Blackman, junior college transfer, coming in immediately as starter, 3.5 stars. I believe he's a junior. Preston Favors, another recruit, 3.5 stars. And I think he's a true freshman, isn't he? Yeah, 2022 class. He was seen as a top 200 player, and then his ranking just disappeared to outside of the top 1,000. And yes, this is a true freshman with phenomenal ability. So his drop in the ranking was undeserved. Preston Favors was just outside of that top 100. He was a great recruit, and then dropped 1,000 places in the recruiting class. And unjust, because look at that, 3.5 stars as a freshman. Charles George, another freshman coming in. Checking the trend. Freshman. Look at that. That is awesome. And Marcus Lowe, 4 stars out of 5. Is a sophomore this year. So we are young and good. Ian Dawson is the one that we stand to lose, but he has been a great servant for our school, getting us going. And he's going to lead us back to Conference U this year. I'm telling you now. All right, well, we are ready to begin the season. we're going to watch the very first game of the year to see how this team performs. It is nice to have recruiting already behind us. We are just going to be able to fly right through this season. First up, Jacksonville State. Without getting into it, I couldn't tell you what conference they are. Doesn't matter. Excited to see the team. We are playing at home. The Jacksonville State Roosters coming into play. Let's hope we can start the season right. Now, last season, it very much should have been the momentum that we had from the non-conference should have carried into the regular season. It did not at all. It's probably a bit loud. All right, getting a quick look. We are already jumping out to an early lead. We are very much the stronger team here. We have plenty of depth. Marcus Lowe's already got 9 points here in the first half. Look at the stats. We are well ahead on rebounds, 16-9 right now. Blocks and steals, we are forcing those turnovers and only committed 4 ourselves. We're shooting 47% from the field and 5 of 8 beyond the arc. They are 0 of 7, so I'm not even going to have to burn a timeout. We are cruising towards our first victory of the season. We are up by over 20 points. Maybe we do need to burn a timeout. Look at that. They are catching up to us here. Leads at 16, back to 19 as we drain a 3. And it looks like we're going to now go back to cruising to this victory. Just a few minutes left in this game. I know we're flying through it here, but this is how we get through so many seasons. 83-58 final. Team starts the year with a blowout victory, forcing numerous turnovers, out-rebounding slightly, 40-35, 9 blocks, 9 steals, and just 9 turnovers as a team, 48% from the field, 69% from the stripe, and 6 of 11 beyond the arc. Great game to start the season. Looking real strong. We didn't just get momentum in the first half, we held it through the second. Team's looking good. All right, well, we're going to get through a whole bunch of games in this episode. We've still got plenty of time. We are not going to go through the sim. We're just going to push right on through. All right, so 1-0 to start the season. And can we get a little momentum going? Last year, we had a great non-conference win-loss record, but then things fell apart real quick with our conference schedule. We go to 2-0, winning our second game as well.
You have new mail. You have new mail. You have new mail.
Next up will be Iowa on the road. That's the Hawkeyes.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
Okay, we got a whole bunch of mail coming in. Let's go see what's going on there. All right, Delaware State. They're going to be a Conference S opponent. Team incident in Dawson. David Blackman, senior freshman. It's probably leader versus putting the freshman in his place. All right, we get our letter of intents from Zimmerman and Price, so it is official. They will be coming to our school next year, and I think from looking at them, let's see, GPA 2.5, as a high school senior, so there is some danger that he might not qualify. I did have that happen not so long ago. And 3.2 here for Price, so there's no way Price is falling out. You can see his original rank, 101. Zimmerman, he's been more in the middle, but I have seen him in the 200s at one point. He started the year at 475. All right, well, it's only 2 games, but a quick look at stats so far. Aki Collins is the leading scorer on the team so far. Ian Dawson is the leading assist guy. So those are both point guards. So I don't know if Collins is coming off the bench or if I've defaulted my lineup again and Aki Collins got himself back in as the starting shooting guard. Okay, well, here comes the change. Kevin Cole now leading the way after we dropped to 2-1. So we lost to Iowa on the road. Next up is Detroit, who is 1-1 on the season so far. So we are still vulnerable on the road. And we do drop to 2-2. So the road is still our nemesis while we hold serve at home. So this could be a common theme throughout the year. We've got Bowling Green up next. They are just 1-3, and we're playing at home. So that should bring us to 3-2. Let's see. Kevin Cole, Marcus Lowe, the rebounder, 6 rebounds a game, and Ian Dawson, almost 6 assists per game. So we're looking pretty strong there so far. All right, let's go ahead and push through another week here. That mail's probably just scouting reports for the teams upcoming. All right, definitely anticipate that we will go to 3-2 here with Bowling Green next on the schedule. Oh no, we lose at home. So this team is not as strong as I thought. And our next game is back on the road at Delaware State. That could be enough to drop us to 2-4. So we might need a little shakeup here. I'm going to have to take a look at things and see if I can't right this ship, because last season things did not go our way. Shocking loss to Bowling Green in that last game. But for all I know, Bowling Green could be in a much, much higher division. So even though they're 1-3, and we do drop to 2-4 with the road loss. Hamilton, who is only 2-4, is up next. But again, we are in Conference V. So we are at the lowest level of competition. It is season number 5 now. So there's been 4 years of promotions and relegations. So mid-level teams that were struggling are definitely going to have dropped a number of conferences by now. But with 23 conferences, a bad team at the top is going to take a long way to drop down. And for us, which I can't say we are right now, we're only 2-4, but a good team at the bottom, it's going to take a long time to get up, at least 22 seasons from now before we can see our way into the top conference, and we are not going to get promoted 22 straight times. As we've already seen, we got promoted once and came right back down. All right, let's see what's going on here. Another team incident between... No, this is not the same one. We've already looked at that one. Or did we? Team incident. They've had a second incident between them. All right, Hamilton Conference M, 2-2, now 2-4, but on the road. That's going to be a difficult game for us. And Eastern Michigan, same deal. Another Conference M team, another struggling team. Portland State, that should be a more manageable game for us coming up. They are just 1-5 and a little bit lower in Conference R, so they're a lot closer to us conference-wise, and are a struggling team. I don't know whether we're going to get them home or away. Conference V leaders, We are the top scoring team in the league, and right there amongst the leaders for assists, and we are the leader for rebounds. We're not on the radar when it comes to steals or blocks, but 3 categories right at the top that should bode well when we go into the conference schedule. But we really should get some momentum building before that time if we're going to be successful. So let's take a look at our depth report and see what's going on. So yes, Aki Collins has been bumped to starter status, but it's not working too well as we're just 2-4 so far. So has Kevin Cole and Isaac Kidd, as they've all been bumped to starter status. So our lineup is all over the place here. And definitely not what I set up going into the season. I've got to figure out how to change that so that I can get a little more control over that depth chart. Because I change it and then I come back a few games later and it's automatically changed. I probably have somewhere in the settings that I can likely adjust that. Well, let's see. Options. Oh, yeah, there we go. CPU managed depth chart. Submatrix. Let's manage it ourselves. Okay, well, that'll fix that. And let's get our better players into these games. Preston Favors, way down here, barely getting any minutes. 11th on the depth chart. Come on. Are you kidding me? Charles George, you need to be the starting center. Okay. David Blackman, you're going to start at power forward. And Preston Favors, you're going to start over Collins. All right, now we have 3.5 stars amongst all of our starters. Now let's fix the depth chart. Julian Marsh, 3 stars. You're the first one off the bench. All right, now we have a pretty even balance from 7th to 11th. We have good depth. I want Walter above Marshall. My walk-ons don't need to be getting a bunch of minutes. Mike Walter, I'd like to get in a little bit, but we need to start getting some wins here, so I'm not going to change that. And we want to keep our 4-star guys on longer. There we go. And you guys are all going to play a decent amount, but not all the time. Kevin Cole is a 2.5-star max, so you should not be 7th. We want to get all those 4 stars, which is everybody. So I have no... Let's see. We'll bump Reginald Neely. He's my only backup along here so far. Down to Aki Collins. Okay, Clifton Jennings had a great year last year, so I want to keep him near the top. And we'll put him there. And Isaac Kidd's the new guy coming in, so we'll bump him down just a little bit. Aki Collins goes there. Alright, I think that should do it. Depth chart. Okay, and the rotation. Submatrix only. There we go. Alright, so this way, the submatrix can be handled based on my depth chart. Alright, we'll take that. Alright, head back into the season. Let's see if the team can't start performing a little bit better with the right players on the court at the right times. See, the team's struggles to score started to emerge. Isaac Kidd is now the leading scorer at just 10 points a game. All right, so we beat Hamilton on the road, our first road win of the year. That depth chart might have had something to do with that. Next up, Eastern Michigan at home. They're just 1-3. I would suspect that we should be able to go to 4-4 here, but we obviously had that tough loss just a week ago at home on a game that looked like it should have been a winner. And yes, we do go to 4-4. We're going to be at Portland State next. They picked up their second win of the year. So it's not a given that we're going to win this game by any means.
You have new mail.
Okay, De La Salle's coming up next. Conference G and 5-4. That's going to be a very tough game. Let's look in our recruiting here real quick. I do have a fallback player, just in case he's a junior college transfer. We are on the top of his list. I do not have a scholarship to offer him. I'm keeping him there largely in case something happens with Zimmerman or Lease. I'd probably be better off going for another point guard, as Zimmerman's the one who runs the risk of not having the 960 SAT score required for entrance to this school. But he cares a little bit about academics, which should mean he should be strong enough to get the SAT score necessary to get in here, but we'll see. Looking at individual players so far, we've got nobody in the points per game category. We're only in the 10 range. But Ian Dawson's right there, second in the league. Nobody's in for rebounds. Nobody's in for steals. And nobody's in for blocks. We are well below. Ian Dawson's the only one leading any stat categories within the league. All right. So what I wanted to do here is I wanted to check back in with these guys and watch some film and scout these players. So we'll do both. That way we can get an update and make sure things are still kosher on their stats. You can see here Price is a B overall, so he is a great talent. He might not be showing super high overall. Zimmerman was much higher, but I mean they've got good stats here in high school. All right, let's head back into the season. Let's get a little further here. We should be beginning the conference schedule here real soon. All right, so Portland State, who is set as our rival. If you have been following this series at all, you know that the Olympic Decathlon Rings are a team based in Portland. And we do get the loss, so the road is still a difficult thing for us. We were not able to pull off the win on the road at Portland State. We've got De La Salle next. They are 5-5. They are a much higher conference as well, but we are at home. So this would be a great statement win, but I could also see this definitely going as a loss.
You have new
We
mail.
only had the one game on the schedule that week. Let's take a look at our schedule. We got 2 more games left, so De La Salle and South Carolina State will wrap up. Oh, Delaware State, that was a 1-point loss in overtime. Dang. Close. The team's definitely performing better than they were after that 2-4 start, winning 2 of the last 3. And only 1 of those were at home. So De La Salle, RPI 78th. They lost to 14th ranked Indiana in overtime. So they are going to be very difficult to beat. South Carolina State is just 1-7, very low RPI. It's on the road, so there's a chance we could win both of those games and get into the conference schedule with a plus 500 record. Let's find out what happens. Let's get to the start of the season. Conference schedule, that is. I'm more worried about De La Salle than I am with the road game, but we play so much better at home. Nope, 4 and 6. They are such a higher division than we are that we were not able to overcome them. So we dropped to 4 and 6, but can we at least get a road win this season? Can we get one? South Carolina State just picked up their second win of the year. They're 2-8 right now. We're a couple days away from that. We should be finding out, I think,
You have
today.
new mail.
I think amongst that mail, we will find out whether Booker Grimes is going to be eligible. No? South Carolina State 1-7. Oh, Conference U. They're only one division above us, so we should. It's entirely possible that we could beat South Carolina State, even though it is on their road. And then we start the conference schedule. Taking a look at the standings so far, Jacksonville is 8-2. Nebraska Omaha is 6-4. North DC is 6-4. Winston-Salem is 7-3, and the Easton Cheetahs are 6-4. While Seattle U is 5-5, Ithaca is 5-5. So there's actually some decent records in here for the bottom conference. Surprising how many teams here have good records going in. And for us, we are 3-2 at home, 1-4 on the road. So we've had one road win so far. Just 3-2 at home. Of course, one of those losses was to a much, much higher conference and pretty decent team. And let's see, checking our roster. Booker Grimes, GPA is back to 2.0. Booker Grimes is now eligible. He made it. I also made a discovery that you can call the player and you can have them get tutors and things like that. So I need to start taking care of that kind of stuff. So finally, Booker Grimes, back half of his senior year, just as we go into conference play, will be eligible to play for the team for the first time since he was just a sophomore. He's only a 2-star player, but he should help the team along a little bit. So Booker Grimes, we can bring him up ahead of these guys. Above Walter. He'll just fit in here. He is a senior. He's not going to be doing much more for the team, so we'll put him at his 85. But he can now get some minutes here in his senior year. All right, well, we have one more game to get through before we get to the start of the conference play. But let's go ahead and sim one more week here to wrap up this episode. South Carolina State, just Conference U. They're only one level above us, and they have a pretty bad record, so they are beatable. It would also be a good telling time for us on whether we're going to be competitive in Conference V this year. Yes, we do get the win, so we are 5-6. Non-conference schedule is now behind us. First up in the conference will be a tough test. Winston-Salem State on the road. With an 8-3 record, they are not going to be an easy game. So we have a tough one to start the conference, and that will definitely play a role. All right, so at 5-6, we got 5 wins on the year so far. Not a great start to the season, but not a terrible start. We are done with our recruiting, and we are looking real strong going into next year with a lot of young talent. Ian Dawson is the only one ready to graduate, and I think Aki Collins is going to be a pretty solid replacement at point guard for him, as he's already a couple of years into his career and looking like a pretty good player himself. David Blackman's starting to emerge as our top player. He's up to about 12 points a game. Ian Dawson holding firm at 5.5 assists a game. We are 34th in all of college basketball in scoring at just under 75 points a game. Pretty good. It's our defense that continues to struggle. All right, well, that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record.